And as the headlines broke across entertainment outlets, the world learned that the court had officially dismissed Justin Baldoni's massive $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds after he missed a crucial deadline, and suddenly what began as a tense legal standoff became a lesson about timing, grace, and how even in Hollywood, where stakes run high and egos clash, there's always space for perspective, because Justin Baldoni isn't just any actor or filmmaker. He's a man known for heart, for empathy, for turning his art into service, and his fame into a tool for healing and storytelling. His work, from directing the emotional hit 5 Feet Apart to his powerful advocacy for mental health and masculinity, has built him a reputation not just as a celebrity, but as a genuine human being who uses his voice for good. And while the lawsuit had stirred curiosity across social media, what stood out most wasn't the conflict, but the calm that followed, because it reminded fans and fellow stars alike that life's biggest tests often lead to our most important growth moments. And Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, two of Hollywood's most beloved and grounded power couples, handled the entire situation with grace, as they always do, known not just for their acting, but for their kindness, wit, and humility. Blake has become a symbol of effortless elegance. Her transition from Gossip Girl's Serena van der Woodsen to one of the industry's most respected voices in fashion and film proves that beauty paired with intelligence and generosity is unstoppable. She's not just a red carpet icon, she's a businesswoman, a mother, and a philanthropist whose work with children's charities and advocacy for women continues to inspire millions. And then there's Ryan Reynolds, whose charm stretches beyond comedy into entrepreneurship, with ventures like Aviation Gin Mint Mobile and Wrexham AFC, where he and Rob McElhenney turned a struggling football club into a global symbol of hope, community, and perseverance, showing that leadership isn't about spotlight, but about service, and fans love them for it. Because despite their fame, they act like real people. They laugh, they give, they care, and in this case, they stayed calm and compassionate even when headlines threatened to stir drama, proving once again that integrity outlasts controversy. And that's something you see in so many stars who have weathered storms. With grace like Keanu Reeves, whose humility has made him an internet legend, or like Taylor Swift, who's reclaimed her narrative time and time again, transforming heartbreak and betrayal into record-breaking empowerment anthems, or even like Selena Gomez, who's become a global beacon for mental health honesty and authenticity with her rare beauty brand and documentary opening conversations that once felt impossible. And these are the stories that make the entertainment world so fascinating. Because beneath the glamour are real people, growing, learning, and evolving in public. And that's what makes Justin Baldoni's journey particularly moving, because his career has always been about breaking stereotypes, about men showing emotion, about communities coming together, about compassion being the strongest form of courage. And even though a court case might sound like a setback, it's really just another chapter in the story of someone who's built his life around reflection, resilience, and reinvention. And when you look at the bigger picture, this entire situation shines light on how the modern celebrity landscape is changing. How stars today are redefining what it means to have power and influence. It's not about dominance anymore. It's about dialogue. It's about using one's platform to spark empathy and connection. And few people embody that better than Blake, Ryan, and Justin together. Because their work, whether it's a heartfelt film, a community project, or a charitable cause, always circles back to humanity, to kindness, to the idea that fame should amplify goodness, not ego. And that's the thread that ties this story to so many others across the world, from Priyanka Chopra's rise from Bollywood, to global activism, to Zendaya's unshakable authenticity, to Harry Styles' gentle confidence that champions love and individuality, and even to icons like Oprah, who've turned personal truth into global healing. All of them remind us that legacy isn't measured by numbers or awards, it's measured by how you make people feel. And as the court case quietly fades into history, the lasting image isn't of conflict, but of composure. Because while the legal world may thrive on deadlines and technicalities, the real world values growth, accountability, and peace. And it's clear that everyone involved in this story has chosen the higher path, and that's what keeps audiences watching. Not for the scandals, but for the humanity, because it's easy to be admired, but rare to be respected. And the people we respect most are the ones who keep showing up with heart even when things get hard. Just like Justin, Blake, and Ryan always have, proving that in the unpredictable rhythm of fame, grace will always be the greatest comeback. And as the dust settled on that courtroom chapter, Justin Baldoni quietly returned to what he has always done best, telling stories that matter. Because his art has never been about drama or competition. It has always been about connection, about using vulnerability as strength. And that's what makes his journey so unique, because in an industry built on image, he has chosen to focus on authenticity, turning pain into purpose and challenges into lessons. And this moment reminded him, and everyone watching, that sometimes the universe redirects us towards something bigger than what we planned, because setbacks often become setups for something extraordinary. And when you think about Justin's career from his early acting days on Jane the Virgin, where he won hearts as Raphael, to his evolution into a filmmaker and author who's reshaping how masculinity and empathy are discussed, it's clear that his mission has always been one of growth and goodness, and that same mission resonates with people across the entertainment world, like Blake Lively, who continues to balance being a mother, a style icon, and a creative powerhouse with effortless charm. Her fashion sense has evolved into something iconic. She doesn't just wear clothes, she tells stories through them, always combining elegance with purpose. And Ryan Reynolds complements her energy, perfectly bringing humor, intelligence, and warmth into everything he does, from the big screen to the boardroom, and even to his heartfelt connection with fans online, where his playful banter and acts of kindness have made him one of the most beloved figures in Hollywood. But beyond the glamour, what makes this trio of public figures stand out is their shared humanity. Their ability to make people feel seen, to remind fans that fame is fleeting, but character is forever. And you see that same light in countless others who've turned their platforms into beacons of hope. Like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who uses his global influence to spread motivation and kindness. Or Angelina Jolie, whose decades of humanitarian work have made her a symbol of compassion and courage. Or Leonardo DiCaprio, who has dedicated much of his life to environmental activism, proving that passion can truly shape the world. And in these stories, you start to see a pattern, a quiet revolution of celebrities choosing impact over image and meaning over money, redefining what it means to be successful. And Justin Baldoni's story fits perfectly into that movement, because his projects like Man Enough and his heartfelt TED Talks encourage men to break down walls of silence and embrace emotional honesty, a message that resonates not only in Hollywood, but across the world, where so many are still learning to accept vulnerability as a strength. And Blake and Ryan have similarly embraced authenticity, choosing to raise their children away from excessive media exposure and using their fame to give back to causes they believe in, from supporting children's hospitals to environmental charities and small business initiatives, showing that the real legacy of a star is not in their roles or red carpets, but in the lives they touch. And that's what makes stories like this so powerful, because they're not about who won or lost in court, they're about who grew, who learned, who loved. And that's the kind of narrative people want to hear today, not the gossip, but the growth, the humanity that reminds us that behind every headline are people just like us, trying to navigate love, family, and purpose in a chaotic world. And that's why Justin's message continues to inspire, because his work constantly asks one question: what does it mean to be truly human? And that question echoes across every corner of entertainment, where artists are embracing truth over perfection, from Lady Gaga, who champions mental health and kindness, to Taylor Swift, whose storytelling power has made her the voice of emotional honesty for an entire generation, to Zendaya, who shows that grace and humility can shine brighter than any spotlight. And each of them in their own way contributes to a new wave of creativity, one where art heals rather than divides, where conversation replaces competition, and where compassion is celebrated as the new cool. And as this movement grows, it's clear that the future of fame looks different. It looks more inclusive, more empathetic, and far more meaningful, because audiences now crave reality, they crave connection, and stars like Justin, Blake, and Ryan understand that better than anyone, because they don't just entertain, they enlighten. And that's what makes them unforgettable. The court's decision may have closed a legal chapter, but what it opened instead was a wider conversation about priorities, perspective, and peace. And that conversation is one that resonates far beyond Hollywood, because whether you're an actor, a teacher, a student, or a dreamer, we all face moments when we must decide whether to react with ego or respond with grace. And when people choose the latter, they become examples of growth, just like these three who remind us all that success means nothing if it doesn't come with substance and kindness. And as we drift into the next chapter, the story of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds becomes one of Hollywood's most refreshing love stories, because it's not built on spectacle, but on friendship, laughter, and mutual respect. They first crossed paths on the set of Green Lantern when neither of them expected a spark to ignite, Yet over time, that connection grew quietly, naturally away from flashing cameras and red carpets. And when they finally appeared as a couple, the world saw something. Real, something rare in an industry where relationships often crumble under pressure. Blake and Ryan seem to thrive in the chaos together, building a bond rooted in humor, honesty, and humility. And what's truly fascinating is how they maintain that balance, both being global stars yet managing to stay grounded and kind. They've built careers filled with memorable roles like Ryan's Deadpool, where his wit and comedic timing turned him into a legend, and Blake's mesmerizing performances in The Age of Adeline and A Simple Favor, which showcased her grace and depth as an actress. But what truly sets them apart is how they use their fame for good. They are known for their philanthropy, quietly donating millions to causes they care about, from children's hospitals to disaster relief efforts and social justice organizations. They never make it about attention, but about action. And that's what fans love about them. They lead with heart and humor, never taking themselves too seriously. And together, they've become an emblem of partnership goals, a duo who remind the world that love works best when it's built on laughter, mutual respect, and support for each other's dreams. And yet, amid their public success, they've also chosen to keep their private lives private, protecting their children from unnecessary spotlight and showing that even in a world obsessed with fame, family comes first. And this commitment to privacy and authenticity connects deeply to what Justin Baldoni has always advocated for, because while he speaks about emotional honesty and human connection, Blake and Ryan live it daily. They show that it's possible to be powerful and soft funny, and serious, famous, yet real, and their connection resonates beyond Hollywood, inspiring countless fans to find balance between ambition and empathy. But what's so beautiful about their story is how it intertwines with others in this tapestry of entertainment, where each celebrity adds their own color and texture. Take someone like Selena Gomez, for instance, whose vulnerability and advocacy for mental health have made her not just a pop icon, but a movement. She reminds people that it's okay to be imperfect, to admit that life behind the smiles isn't always easy, and like Justin Bieber, who's gone from teen idol to mature artist learning to navigate fame, love, and self-acceptance, they all represent a new kind of celebrity, one that prioritizes emotional intelligence over image, one that celebrates authenticity over aesthetics. And when you think about these journeys collectively, it paints a picture of an entertainment industry that's finally evolving toward compassion and truth. Even stars like Harry Styles bring their own flavor to this evolution, turning individuality and kindness into a global message of freedom, while Billie Eilish teaches the world about self-expression and confidence through creativity. And the beauty of this interconnected world of celebrities is that each one adds something to the greater story of growth and humanity, from Beyoncé's empowerment anthems to Keanu Reeves's humble generosity to Zendaya's quiet strength and awareness. All these figures remind us that fame doesn't have to mean distance from reality. It can mean connection, amplification of purpose, and in Blake and Ryan's case, that purpose extends to creativity beyond acting. They're entrepreneurs, storytellers, and dreamers, always expanding their artistry. Whether it's through Ryan's aviation gin business or Blake's ventures in sustainable fashion and design, both show that success has layers, and every layer can be used to uplift others. And what keeps their story endlessly inspiring is their humor, that effortless ability to laugh at themselves, whether through witty birthday posts teasing each other on social media, or playful interviews that show their chemistry is as natural as it is entertaining. And that humor reminds everyone that love can be light, that even amid the heaviness of fame, the laughter keeps you grounded, keeps you human. And that's a lesson fans and fellow stars alike can take to heart, because in a world full of pressure and performance, laughter truly is medicine. And as we look at how their story mirrors so many others across the world of celebrity, we see that behind every headline there are lessons about resilience, love, empathy, and growth, lessons that go far beyond Hollywood, reaching anyone who's ever dared to chase a dream, fall in love, or face the weight of expectation. Because that's what stories like theirs do. They unite us in the shared experience of being human, reminding us that the brightest stars shine, not because they are flawless, but because they are real, and that realness is what makes them unforgettable. And as the story expands beyond Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, we find ourselves standing at the crossroads of a cultural shift where fame has started to mean something entirely different, because now it's not just about who sells the most tickets or breaks the most records. It's about who inspires, who uplifts, who uses their light to make the world a little warmer, and this new generation of stars has embraced that responsibility with open arms. Take Taylor Swift, for instance, who has built an empire out of authenticity. Her music has always been a reflection of her heart. Her journey from a young country singer in Nashville to one of the most powerful voices in global pop culture is a masterclass in resilience and reinvention. She has never been afraid to speak her truth, whether through her lyrics, her activism, or her re-recording project that turned industry struggles into a symbol of empowerment for artists everywhere. And yet amid her success, she remains grounded, staying connected to her fans through heartfelt letters, surprise performances, and acts of kindness that remind everyone why she means so much to so many. Her friendship with celebrities like Blake Lively shows how women in entertainment can celebrate each other's victories rather than compete. And that same spirit of unity extends across borders through artists like BTS, whose message of self-love and hope has touched millions around the world. Their journey from humble beginnings in South Korea to becoming global ambassadors for positivity proves that art has no language barrier, that sincerity travels farther than fame. Their speeches about mental health at the United Nations and their charity efforts have inspired fans to be kinder to themselves and to others, creating a ripple effect that's changed lives in real ways. And in the same wave of inspiration, Zendaya has become the face of grace and versatility. Her evolution from a Disney Channel actress to an Emmy-winning powerhouse symbolizes the potential of courage and persistence. She carries herself with elegance, but always uses her platform to discuss representation, inclusivity, and strength. Her presence at award shows her fashion choices. Her advocacy work all blend into a message of confidence and empowerment that speaks to young women everywhere, showing that beauty and intelligence coexist beautifully. And then there's Beyoncé, a legend whose impact transcends music itself. She embodies excellence in every form. Yet behind the perfection lies decades of discipline, sacrifice, and unwavering faith. She has taught generations to embrace their power through art and purpose, making her concerts feel less like performances and more like spiritual experiences. And beyond her art, her philanthropy from scholarships to disaster relief continues to prove that the most powerful thing a person can do with success is share it with others. And in that same realm, we find artists like Rihanna, who turned her musical success into an empire of inclusivity through Fenty Beauty and Savage X. Fenty championing diversity in every campaign, making people of all shades and sizes feel seen and beautiful. Her confidence has inspired millions to own their individuality, unapologetically, and even though she has stepped away from music temporarily, her influence continues to echo globally because she represents what happens when a woman decides to create her own table rather than waiting for a seat at someone else's. And what's truly beautiful is how these stories connect back to the likes of Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, and Ryan Reynolds, each one contributing to this cultural renaissance of kindness, creativity, and authenticity that reminds us that being a celebrity is no longer just about being admired, it's about being relatable and responsible. Because in this digital age where fans have direct access to stars through social media, connection has become the new currency. And those who know how to use it with love leave a lasting legacy. And that's why the fans matter so much, because without their energy and loyalty, these stories wouldn't have the same power. Fans amplify the message, fans turn music into movement, and in return, stars like Taylor, BTS, Zendaya, and Justin Bieber often take time to remind their audiences that they're not just supporters. They're part of the journey, and that relationship built on mutual love and respect is what keeps entertainment alive. It's why stadiums fill with light sticks, why concerts turn into shared therapy sessions, why movies feel like conversations with old friends, because the connection between celebrity and fan is no longer distant. It's deeply human, and as more stars embrace this truth, the world of fame becomes less about ego and more about empathy. And that's what keeps the energy of this era so special, a time when global icons from the US to Korea, from Europe to Africa, are using their voices not to divide, but to unite, showing that creativity is the purest form of compassion. And whether it's Billie Eilish speaking about self-acceptance, or Malala Yousafzai collaborating with global artists for equality, or even young influencers using their platforms for mental health awareness, each adds a verse to this ongoing song of hope and harmony that defines our times. And this is the beauty of the modern entertainment story. It's no longer about who's perfect, but who's present, who's willing to show up honestly for themselves and for the world around them, because In a way, that's what makes fame meaningful. It's not about the number of followers or awards. It's about how deeply one's work can touch a heart and make someone believe that they too can dream boldly, love deeply, and live authentically. And as the story draws toward its final arc, everything we've witnessed from Justin Baldoni's heartfelt honesty to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' playful love to the courage and compassion of global icons like Taylor Swift, BTS, Zendaya, Beyoncé, and Rihanna becomes a reflection of what the entertainment world is evolving into. Because somewhere between the flashing lights, the movie premieres, and the stadium tours, there's this quiet realization that fame is only as beautiful as the heart that carries it, and that's what these stories remind us again and again. That at the end of every song, every film, every interview is a person trying to find meaning in the noise, trying to connect with others in a world that often feels disconnected. And Justin Baldoni's journey in particular symbolizes that deeply. His willingness to speak about vulnerability, to challenge stereotypes of masculinity, to remind people that strength can coexist with softness, has turned him into more than an actor or a filmmaker. He's become a teacher of empathy. His work in films like 5 Feet Apart and projects like Man Enough shows that storytelling can be a mirror, not just of what we see, but of what we feel. And that's what makes him such a vital voice in this generation, one that reminds us that the truest form of success is using your gifts to serve others. And in that way, he shares a kindred spirit with stars like Blake and Ryan, whose philanthropy and humility have quietly changed lives because they don't just talk about doing good. They live it supporting hospitals for children, empowering small communities, raising awareness for the environment and mental health, all while reminding people to laugh, to stay playful, to not let the weight of the world dim the light inside them. And maybe that's the secret to their magic, that perfect blend of humor, humility, and heart. And as the camera pans out from their story, we see how they connect with others who carry the same light, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, whose motivational energy continues to lift people around the globe, like Oprah Winfrey, who has spent decades helping others see their worth, and like Lady Gaga, who transformed pain into art using her music and foundation to help people heal. Because in the end, all these paths converge into one universal truth, that fame is fleeting, but kindness is eternal. That talent may open doors, but character keeps them open. And that the stories that endure are the ones rooted in love and courage. And as the world keeps changing, technology, growing, platforms expanding, there's something timeless about the simple power of human connection. It's what keeps fans following their favorite stars. Not just for entertainment, but for inspiration, for a reminder that dreams do come true, even when the path gets messy, that healing is possible, even when hearts are heavy, and that joy can coexist with struggle, if we choose to look for light. And in that sense, the entertainment world mirrors life itself. It's filled with triumphs and failures, laughter and tears, beginnings and endings. But through it all, the most important thing is to stay authentic, to stay kind, to keep growing and learning and sharing what you've learned so that someone else might find hope in your journey. And that's what makes these celebrities not just stars, but storytellers of the human experience. People who remind us to celebrate every chapter, the hard ones and the beautiful ones, because all of it matters. All of it shapes who we become, and maybe that's the real magic of fame, not the spotlight or the applause, but the ability to use that platform to make someone somewhere feel seen, heard, and loved. And as the music fades and the lights dim, the message that echoes through every corner of this story is one of gratitude to the artists who dare to be real, to the fans who continue to believe, to the dreamers who refuse to give up. Because the truth is, every great story is a reminder that we are all connected by our need to belong, to love, to create, and to leave the world just a little better than we found it. And that's what Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Taylor Swift, BTS, and so many others continue to do in their own ways through their art, their activism, their laughter, their love. They prove that no matter how chaotic the world gets, kindness will always be in style, compassion will always be powerful, and authenticity will always be timeless. So here's to the storytellers, the believers, the ones who fall and rise again, the ones who remind us that the brightest light often comes from the deepest shadow. Because in the end, that's what makes us all human beautifully. Imperfect, endlessly growing, and forever capable of changing the world one small act of love at a time. If you love motivational storytelling, celebrity journeys, and cinematic narratives that feel like a friend talking to your heart, this video is for you. Comment below your favorite celebrity story and tell us who inspires you most. Like, subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss more inspiring documentaries.